What's shaking? Hey, I'm Rick Jordan. Today, we're going all in. I'm pumped because I met this amazing woman on Instagram and I DM'd her and I'm like, you're interesting. I think we need to talk, and just display this out to the world. And this is the cool part, right? Because she's a licensed mental health therapist who appeared on season 28 of The Bachelor. And she's passionate about teaching everything mental health and just destigmatizing a lot of things around that. So I'm pumped to have Madina Alam. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. I feel honored.
This is so cool. I mean, we were talking a little bit, getting to know each other, and you have something that you're doing right now, because we'll get into The Bachelor and all that stuff, but you were really starting to capture me about everything you were talking about mental health. So give everyone a little bit of that.
Yeah, I'm really just on a mission to make mental health sexy. I feel like
what does that mean?
Well, I mean, I think when we think of mental health, we think of it as this stuffy thing. You have to be crazy when you go, or there has to be something really wrong with you. You have to have a disorder or an illness. And I think there's nothing more attractive than someone who can identify how they feel and express it, and also have people in your life who you can do that with, whether it be friends, intimate relationships, family members. I gravitate towards people that I feel like I can open up to, and I know how healing that's been for me. And I want to create a space where other people can see that is a beautiful thing. To be vulnerable.
That's good. And you said something that's attractive, right? I mean, that kind of goes along with your whole making mental health sexy thing. Because isn't that a main thing today? Because I mean, you're talking 50 years ago. I mean, neither of us were alive 50 years ago, which is good. I'm glad I can still say that, that's great. But 50 years ago, everything it seemed, at least from what probably you and I read, everything that we would call mental health today was pretty much shoved down. And to your point, it was straitjacket town was mental health, the insane asylum, those kinds of things were mental health. Today it's a lot different. It's a more broader term, and I think a more evolved term as well.
Yeah. Well, when I think of mental health, I just really think of awareness, self-awareness. When I went through schooling to become a therapist, 90% of schooling isn't necessarily about theory or application of theory. It's about learning yourself, so then you can be the most stable version of you to help another person, right? And so I think why people shy away from mental health is because we don't want to admit the things that make us insecure, the things that we're anxious about, the things that make us sad. It's scary to admit those things, but I think the only way to get through those things is to lean into it and recognize that that's part of the human experience.
For sure it is. That vulnerability is important too, isn't it? Because I also think of 50 years ago, I don't know, but I had great parents growing up. I truly can't speak to how vulnerable they were with each other, but on the surface anyways, it looked like they had an amazing, loving relationship. Behind the scenes, I don't know exactly what kind of talks they had and all of that. My dad passed when I was just 16, so I didn't have a lot of time to observe that, especially as an adult. But I would think back to what, again, the 50 years ago, where did those deep conversations really happen, or were people just playing the roles? Because today, I think individuals like you and me are looking more so for that awareness, especially in a romantic partner. Somebody who can say, hey, I'm trying to find my shit all the time so that I can be better for you.
Yeah. And I think it's a form of connection. So me being vulnerable with someone and vice versa, especially in an intimate relationship, that's how you connect. That's why people develop crushes on their therapist, kind of regularly, because you're opening up to them on this deep level you might not be with other people. And I think at the end of the day, we all want to feel connected, and we want to feel like we're not alone. And I think we all logically know we all struggle in a similar way, but we forget that we don't really truly feel that because we're not actually talking to each other.
Yeah.
I was at dinner the other night with one of my friends, and I'll be vulnerable and I'll say I often feel alone even when I'm around other people. And we can go down that. This is a separate thing, but I think people assume things based on how they look or what they have going on. And I opened up to her about that. And I was kind of emotional about it because I was just not having a good day. And she was like, I feel exactly the same way.
Yeah.
And also a very beautiful, successful girl. And like, in theory, I know she struggles, but like for me, I hate that she feels that way, but it felt comforting to hear her actually say like, I feel that way too, you know?
Yeah,
and
right
that's
on.
what I mean about like the vulnerability and the deepness. It's like, now I feel less alone and more connected.
Yeah,
and I want people to see that as like a good thing versus like, don't say that, or like just, and we can get into that with The Bachelor too, if you want, 'cause I don't know.
It's funny you say that. My mind was going. I mean, first you talked about, you know, you went back to like, and I want to dive into this a little bit too. You know, people develop crushes on their therapists. I mean, you're beautiful, so I could see why people would do that from a physical sense with you, of course. But then you're talking the vulnerability aspect of it. You know, how does that take place? And really, I want to know your perspective as a therapist. How do you handle something like that?
Like, how do I handle if someone develops feelings?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple ways. I think, you know, once you're in the field a little bit longer, you get less scared of, because, you know, when you become a therapist, it's like these rigid set of rules you think you have to follow. And I think every person is really different, and it can open up, honestly, a vortex of creating what we call a reparative relationship with these individuals, because a lot of people who go to therapy, their attachment isn't the healthiest. So therapy is really meant to be like a reparenting almost. So like you're almost serving as like their parents to model what their parents didn't model. And so it depends. Sometimes I will have to transfer an individual because that connection is going to get in the way of them doing the work. And I usually just ask them straight up, like, do you feel like your attraction or your connection is going to get in the way of us doing what we came here to do? And if they say yes, then I'll explain to them and then I will transfer. But if they feel like it won't, I do want to show them that they can still, they're allowed to have a feeling, right? The feeling is never an issue with anything, not even just attraction. It's the reaction or the response to the feeling. So it's
probably the first time in a long time they've been validated even in their feelings is in a session, with you or any therapist.
Yeah. So I think like I like to normalize it. You're attracted to that validation. And so if they feel like it's not going to get in the way, then, you know, we can work through it together.
Yeah, for sure. How did that go on the show? Because I can imagine some of the, some of the conversations you might have had, and I didn't watch your episodes. I didn't do my homework that much, go back and try to find your episodes. Cringy. Yeah. But I can imagine the dude. I mean, did you use some tactics on him? Were you a therapist at that time? Be like, oh, tell me more,
Yeah. I mean, I definitely was like, oh my God, I can only imagine like how stressful it is for him because we're all like trauma dumping on him. It's like
for real? That's
I did
awesome. I haven't watched it in a long time because you were on season 28, right? I might have seen a few episodes maybe like 20 years ago, when it was just kind of in its early years. And I didn't see much of that. I didn't see much of the trauma dumping, but that's what takes place for real.
Yeah. We're like, you open up, you tell your something really bad that happened. And I get it, right? Because it's a fast track timeline of potentially getting engaged. So that those conversations are important. So yeah.
That's intriguing. Were you a therapist at that point? Or did that happen?
I'm sorry.
No, I was just, you answered the question. I thought maybe it was afterwards that you could have become a therapist as well.
No, I was. I think it was, there's a lot of thoughts I have on being a therapist on that show. So, and also,
you just reminisced. I just lost you to like a zone for a minute here.
Yeah. Wait, what do you mean?
you like looked down and I don't know what was going through your head right there.
Well, because I'm like, there's so many thoughts I have about it. I'm like, I don't know where to start. But I think, just going on the show in general, I probably should have also watched some more episodes. Yeah. My night, and I said this actually last night at my event, I said, because I was like really thinking, I'm like, why am I doing these events? Like at the end of the day, like I built this platform. Well, the platform got built for me for being on this show, right? Sure. And I'm like, gosh, am I doing this like the wrong way? Like mental health is not a sexy thing to sell. And that's kind of where my phrase of like, let's make mental health sexy. It's like, again, I'm not selling like a day party or like a boat trip or like a happy hour. I'm selling something that's about vulnerability. And I remember my producer telling me, because on the show, for context, I had opened up about feeling really insecure about wanting to find my person. Like right now I'm 32 on the show. I was 31. And like, I know I have time, and where the fuck my man at? Like, I go on this show, like you can't date for like a year pretty much. So like, I'm not at this time where I just have like a year to kind of chill out. Like I personally want to get married. I mean, shocking. I went on a show where the end is marriage.
Yeah.
So like, God forbid, I say like, I feel pressure. My words were skewed and everyone's like, you're not old. I'm like, I literally never said I was old. People are like, you're beautiful. I'm like, never said anything about the way I look. They're like, you have time. I'm like, just let me feel how I want to feel. Let me feel how I want to feel.
Wow.
And this is coming around circle in the sense of like my naive mind as a therapist went in and said, I think vulnerability is beautiful. I'm on this journey to be vulnerable and
help others. Yeah.
Yeah. So my producer was like, no one wants to see someone insecure on TV. I will remember that statement till the end of my life, probably, because that is a shocking statement in so many ways. And that's exactly what it's called, reality TV. It's a reality. And if I can make an impact from any of this, I want so badly, again, for people to see that like having an insecurity is a beautiful thing, because if you recognize you have an insecurity, you now have a chance to work on it.
Isn't that the first step? I mean, that's awareness, right? That you can identify that, but then afterwards, I mean, what's the next best thing? You frickin' talk about it, because the only way it becomes a non-insecurity, I think I just made that up, I'm sure I did, is if you actually get it out and challenge it, right? To see if it's even, somebody I met always said, like, feelings are not facts. And a lot of insecurity comes from emotion, and it's something that you might have created or thought is the actual case. But then when you challenge it, it can no longer be an insecurity anymore. But I'm with you that awareness is like the first thing. And then it's like step 2, talk about it, challenge it. The only way to challenge it is to actually, if it's a person, go to that person. I think anyways, you tell me, what are the steps? Maybe I'm off. Stop me where I'm wrong. Go to the person and talk to them. Be like, hey, this is what I'm thinking. Is this true? And then if they say no, it's like, oh, okay, well, I guess I was wrong. No more insecurity.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think me personally, I don't think the goal would ever to be never have any insecurity. It would just be try to let the insecurity impact your behaviors the least.
Yeah.
So, because feelings like will always be valid. We will all, despite what anyone thinks, we all have insecurities, and we will all have insecurities until the day we die. Okay. The level that the insecurity is impacting you, though, that's the important piece. So yeah, communicating something can give you answers. And if you don't know that something rubs you the wrong way, for example, you can't communicate it to another person to get the clarification that maybe you need.
Yeah, that's the vulnerability you're talking about. Completely the vulnerability. And it's like everybody's, there's all these buzzwords, right? And I swear it's like over the last year, I think it was the 2022 word of the 2023. I've mentioned this a couple times on the show. Word of the year with Webster's dictionary was gaslighting. And I swear, like this year, I think 2024 is going to be trauma. That might be word of the year.
That word is thrown around.
Everybody's on this trauma train, like, oh, my trauma, as if it's like this crutch and like something that's actually an excuse for whatever. But that's the opposite of awareness.
Yeah. I mean, that's like a whole separate thing. We throw around terms all the time. Like if one more person tells me they're antisocial, I'm like, oh, so you're Jeffrey Dahmer. That's really what antisocial means.
You are the type of therapist everybody needs. Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Oh yeah. No, I'm very direct, because the type of therapy I do too is it's much less talking and it's a lot more doing, which is another reason I do these events. Is I think there's not a lot of awareness about. Sorry, I'm going off on a completely different topic, but
this is interesting. I like it. Keep going.
There's just so much research that talking about your problems is not effective.
Yeah. So let's circle back to the show real quick, because I know everybody loves the show, and I love what you're doing. I want to hear more about your events in a sec too. We got on the show. I love when you said, where the fuck my man? So for real, you couldn't date or chose not to date for like a year leading up to the show?
Well, like in total, right? So before we leave for filming, some of it was my own choice. So like the month or so leading up to like me thinking like, oh, I'm probably going to go on the show, because things were getting really serious. Like I was getting background, all these things. I didn't want to be the girl that went on the show and someone then was like, I was dating her. I have these text messages. She invited me over, whatever, right? So I didn't date.
Last week.
Yeah. But, there's always that one person that wants to clap. Yeah. And then obviously while we're filming, we're not dating. And then after, I mean, you can technically date, but it's supposed to be in private. And I wasn't really on the type of time where I'm going to invite someone over to my place and call that dating.
Yeah.
And I just didn't also, again, want to risk like a person potentially saying they were dating me. So I just waited until I was eliminated from the actual airing of the show. So it was almost a whole year. So
that would be a funny first date, though, wouldn't it? I mean, if you had chosen a date during that time period before you were eliminated, after, because I mean, it does surprise me how many people don't know this, but all this stuff is pre-recorded, you know, and then those seasons are released afterwards. So you are in real life eliminated, but it can be weeks later until it's actually that episode airs. You know, how many weeks was that for you? Maybe 20? It's a long time.
I really couldn't even tell you. I have no idea.
I've had friends on reality shows, and I mean, it can be that long from what I've seen, like 6 months at times, especially if they were one of the finalists between.
I just spilled water all down.
This is real life here on All In. Yes.
I'm like, Zoom is really forgiving though. I'm like, you can't. Can you see it?
No, I can't at all. Yeah.
Welcome. Come to my mental health events where I will spill water on myself.
I love it. I love it. I can imagine though, my brain goes, and this is imagination, right? To where you're dating somebody, you bring them over, it's like the first day, it's like, oh, by the way, nobody can know that I'm with you right now. You know, so
I didn't even want to have that conversation.
Yeah, that's a little nuts.
Well, I don't even tell people now, like when I go on, like if they want to Google me and find it, that's fine. I don't say anything.
That's except me. I found it. I don't know where it was, but I found it. Like, I need to talk to you. That's cool. So let's come back to the events that you're doing, you know, because you said you just had one last night, right? Can you describe how this goes? Because it's obviously not like an Instagram mental health event like we were talking about, to where you're throwing everybody on a yacht and, you know, it's a mental health day. Let's drink and smoke some weed and then we all feel better. That's not what you're doing.
Yeah. Last night I did one that focused on like relationships and hormones in particular, but I just I'm definitely like I have an idea and I just like run towards it like 1,000 miles. Yeah. So I just kind of picked the topic like the month up. So I did one in June. Excuse me. I did one in June for a little indigestion. Come to my mental.
We got water. We got indigestion.
I'm like, can we cut that part out?
Maybe. No, it's fun. We keep it in.
So June I did a men's mental health event because it was men's mental health awareness. And then in May I did just a general mental health event where I actually spoke and talked a little bit about my own vulnerabilities and insecurities, even though I'm a therapist and I'm a model and I was on a reality show. And so it's really just to bring awareness. And then, you know, don't get me wrong, I love a dirty martini, but like you're not making best friends with the person in the bathroom at 2 a.m. when you're all drunk. And
for sure.
I don't know, I have a different view on like my type of fun. Like last night was so fun to me. And I didn't drink anything. And I feel like people leave with, and this is no judgment on drinking. Again, I have my drinks here and there, but you can't truly connect with people like under those kinds of circumstances. Yeah. And like, you know, being at the club when you can't hear anyone talking and like you're not connecting with them. And I'm down to do that for my birthday, but like I don't want to be at the club every weekend. And I don't really want people in my life that are that way either. And it's no judgment. It's just like a values thing. So the events are really meant for like bringing awareness, but also just bringing people together in like an environment where they can leave with an actual friend that they can like eventually lean on, you know?
Oh, that's cool. Like a safe person. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. So what happens at the event? I'm sure you've got some kind of structure to it.
Yeah, no, it's just a free for all. No, just kidding.
We're back to my idea.
There's usually like a little like mingling in the beginning. So I'll have like last night I had like a charcuterie and donut spread. I'm a huge fan of donuts. I love donuts.
Thank you. Thank you. I just had somebody in the office today, like, Rick, I think you need to order donuts for the office today. And because everyone knows I'm a donut fan too, but I feel you. That's why we work out, right?
Yes. Yeah. So just like mingling and stuff. And then last night in particular, I was moderating and I was asking these two women questions. They're experts in their respective fields. And it was also a chance for me to help showcase other people because these two women, they were like, oh my God, I look up to what you're doing, the confidence that you have when you speak. And like, I want to feel that way. And I'm like, I want to be able to help them feel that way and feel empowered. And it felt nice, like to get a message from each of them after to say that they felt empowered because I think that's part of it too. and also too, like even like one of the women, she's a licensed therapist and she lives in the area. And some people are like, why would you, it's direct competition. I'm like, A, there's plenty to go around. B, people are going to choose me or her regardless. I'm not going to shy other options away. And C, she's an expert in a different area of mental health.
Yeah. It's not like you're a dentist.
Yeah. What?
I said, it's not like you're a dentist or anything like that.
Right.
It's a little different. You need the right therapist that you can connect with and be vulnerable with. A dentist, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I never thought of it that way. But yeah, I think, so we did like a little Q&A and then we did like giveaways and then people mingle and they leave. So
that's cool. I dig that. Yeah. So typically out of that, because I think it's lost with a lot of individuals who are in your role, because some could look at you almost as like a coach, and there's a lot out there that want to have that type of program. Like, oh man, this is going to be great. We're going to have events, but then does it actually help people? And to your point, the competition, I use the phrase all the time. It's like two mosquitoes fighting over an elephant. Because there's so many that need help with that. And I if we could just circle back to the beginning a little bit, you were talking on awareness. And I think that's probably the biggest barrier. In my opinion, my humble opinion, I am not a therapist. I'm just a dude with a podcast that has a public company and all this other stuff. I'm not a therapist, but the awareness piece, I think, is something that's sorely missing. And it's probably, if I had to guess, talk on this a little bit, the awareness part is hindered a lot by ego.
200%.
I love that. Yeah. So is that like a resistance that people have? It's like, I don't need therapy. I don't need to go see a therapist.
Yeah. Well, there's so many directions I could answer this in, but awareness, when you think of awareness, think of also self-conscious. So like even on the show, people were like, why are you so self-conscious? I've been modeling since I was 16 and I'm a mental health therapist. You best believe I am conscious of myself, right? We've created that to be a bad terminology. I'm glad I'm self-conscious. I'm aware of how I make other people feel. I'm aware of my own shit and how that might impact other people. And I think it is 200% an ego thing, because if someone else's shit rubs you the wrong way, that's you. I promise that's not them. So like I say this all the time. If I'm on someone's social media page, or if someone says, I unfollowed that person because they made me feel bad about myself, wrong. That is your shit. If someone else made you, like, it's a difference between, I don't want to follow that person because they post things that I don't align with my values, right? Like, I'm not going to follow someone again that's like posting like partying every weekend. It's just like, I'm not interested in that. Like, it's not about a feeling bad, but like, if I see someone doing something that maybe is really great and that makes me feel bad about myself, that's my shit. And so it goes back to the awareness, because you have to be aware of your sore spots. And like, it's okay to have sore spots, but I think we're scared to admit it because we think it then means we're crumbling at the seams or we're sitting in the corner crying. Because even like me saying like, I really want to find my husband, I deeply do. I still stand by that. And also, I'm fiercely independent. I love my single life. There's so many things that I get because I am single. And again, where the fuck my man at, right? Those two opposite things can exist at the same time. And that's another thing I think a lot of us forget, because I think people took what I said and they misinterpreted it as like, oh my God, like, I'm saying how I feel. We all came on this show to get married, right? Like, right?
That's so awesome. So, you said two things that I want to finish us up with here. You hit the nail on the head as far as how to deal with bullying. Because when people, I think you were talking about on the show and like, oh, you're so self-conscious. You're like, yeah, I am. I'm conscious of myself. That's the best way to come back, because that is bullying in that. If somebody says, oh, you're cocky, I'm always like, yes, I'm very aware of both my strengths and my weaknesses. And I'm trying to discover more of both every single day. Thank you. It's the same thing. So if somebody says, oh, you're this, it's like, yeah, I am. It's like that's how it goes. But then also you lean into, it's like, where's my guy? And you're like, I want to get married. And others are saying, oh, you got time and all that stuff. I really can tell you're coming from a healthy place that way. Like, it's not, a quote unquote biological clock that you think is ticking. Can you give everyone, especially literally all the women out there who are in the same boat, the healthy reasons why you're in that stage in your life and why you're looking to get married now?
Yeah, I mean, I love love. Like I really do. Like I think there's nothing more beautiful than watching the old couple walk down the road holding hands. And like at the end of the day, like I don't care what anyone says. I hate the statement, I don't need you, I want you. No, we do need each other.
Yeah.
And I think we need to reframe what need is. Like I need someone to talk to at the end of my day. Maybe I had a lot of clients that were really challenging that day, or maybe I just, need to lay on the couch with you, or I need to eat some ice cream, and like I need to connect with you. And connection is the number one predictor to a long life. And so I want to feel that. It's a different type of connection than a friendship. And I love all my friendships and my family relationships. They serve a purpose, but I don't know. I want to go grocery shopping on a Saturday at 9 p.m. with my man and go to sleep at 11:30. Like and I think too, for me, like I feel like you have the group of people that are married and in relationships, and then you have the group of people that are just out. And I'm like neither of those, and no judgment on either end, but it's like, and that's part of why I'm creating these events, because that's my idea of like kind of going out and having fun and feeling connected, but it being in a meaningful way. But yeah, long story short, I'm just a lover girl. Like, I love how I'm like corny. I love long letters. Like, leave me some M&Ms outside my door. Like,
well, you're longing for connection. And that is, I don't care what anybody says, that is a basic human need. Connection, I mean, it would have been just Adam, not Adam and Eve, if you have spiritual beliefs, if that was the case way back when, one dude flying solo around, or if Eve was created, it would have been just one woman doing whatever by herself, We're placed on the earth to be with other people, to have that connection. There's no other reason. You got it. I love it. Medina, you're amazing. Thank you for coming on.
You too. You too.
Everyone can find you, go follow her, because I did. It's really Dina Lene, right? DINALYNEE on Instagram. Perfect. Yep. I love it. And LinkedIn, the same thing. You're incredible. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.